Hello, welcome back to Expansive, and it's time for another E3 roundups. This time it's Bethesda's turn. So they're going to be on Sunday, June the 10th, 6:30 PT and 9:30 ET. Again, you can watch that on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. It's the 4th year running that they've had an E3 show, and this could be one of their best yet. Because we know about certain things based on certain people announcing certain things ahead of time, but we also have some ideas. We have a lot of speculation about things that we don't know so much about. So let's jump right in. So speaking about things that people have leaked a bit early, Rage 2 was leaked by Walmart Canada along with some teaser images that made the rounds online. Yeah, Walmart Canada really kind of pulled the rug out from underneath Bethesda by the looks of things. Basically put a load of placeholder boxes on their website, which included games like DC Super Villains. It's also included Just Cause 4, which we're going to talk about in a later show. There's also a new Splinter Cell game was announced, and yeah, it was a little bit embarrassing because it's told us a lot about the shape of E3 because Bethesda basically all but confirmed it before Rage 2 was officially announced by saying, this is why we can't have nice things from Peter Hines. But the interesting thing was Bethesda played along with it. They took it in decent spirits, and they revealed Rage 2 shortly afterwards. So it was announced potentially a bit earlier than they would have liked to. But we do know that there's going to be more details given to us at E3. We did see a gameplay and storyline trailer already with the Andrew WK Ready to Die tune in the background. It's got a very Borderlands and Mad Max style, which is actually very convenient because it's being made by Avalanche Studios, who've also worked on the Mad Max game and Just Cause. But it's being co-made as well by id Software, who worked on the latest Doom game as well as the original Rage 1. So obviously it's been many, many years since the original Rage. It's a bit of a surprise that we're seeing Rage 2 because Rage kind of had a bit of a mixed reception, but it also looks very different. This looks like very much like a reimagining of the franchise, which is probably for the best, really. We don't know, of course, if the original protagonist from Rage 1 is involved in Rage 2. We do know, of course, that we'll find out more at E3. We do also know that the Rage 2 is running on Avalanche's Apex engine, not ID's engine. So that's quite an interesting one as well. There's also going to be some vehicular combat, big environments of deserts and wastelands, and that it's actually releasing in 2019 in the spring on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. So we expect to hear a lot more about Rage 2, whether it has season passes, DLC, whatever, get some more content detail, get some story detail. We expect to hear a lot more on that, and that's going to be a big part of Bethesda's show. Probably the highlight of Bethesda's show, and I don't really need to tell you this, is Fallout 76. Yeah, they did a big Twitch 24-hour marathon session, which over 2 million unique people popped into, which is quite amazing because this was completely unannounced. Bethesda they went live on Twitch with a Pip-Boy and a Please Stand By monitor in the background. They left it for 24 hours, and then Todd Howard came in front of the camera and said, "Hey, check out this thing we're working on called Fallout 76. So you got a nice small teaser trailer. There was absolutely no gameplay. It was just all cutscenes. We do know it's releasing on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. There's no mention of Switch at the moment. It's being developed by Bethesda Game Studios, which is perhaps the most interesting thing. And they, of course, worked on the numbered installments for the Elder Scrolls as well as Fallout 3 and 4. Usually, they're the type of team that works on the big open world RPGs. But what we know of Fallout 76, or at least we think we know based on Kotaku sources, is that this is not going to be a conventional Fallout game. It's actually going to be more akin to Rust. So this is not going to be like Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, Fallout 4, Fallout 76. This is going to be almost like a spin-off of the Fallout games, which is a bit of a surprise, which is obviously initially led people to think that Obsidian were going to be involved in the development of a new Fallout project. They're not involved at all. They don't know anything about it. That's not to say they won't be involved in a future Fallout project, but yeah, for the time being, as far as we know, this is, if you're expecting a big open world Fallout single player game, it doesn't seem like this is going to be for you. This is going to be for those who like games like Rust, so that's going to be worth keeping out for. We don't really know much about Fallout 76. We know we can assume, or we can tell from the trailer, that it's going to be set in Vault 76, which is actually referenced in previous Fallout games, that was said to be occupied by 500 people who were known as a control group. It was intended to be opened 20 years after a nuclear war, and a poster in the vault shows its existence is meant to mark the US tricentennial in 2076. So based on sort of a timeline, we're guessing the game is going to take place around 2102. So timeline-wise, the bombs fell in 2077. The first Fallout was then set in 2161, with Fallout 2 set out in 2241, then Fallout 3 2277, New Vegas 2281, and Fallout 4 2287. So we're assuming then that Fallout 76 is actually going to go back in time and be kind of like, not a prequel to previous Fallout games, but it's going to feature in a timeline very early on, so it's not going to see the future of Fallout unfold. It also has a rumoured release date of October 27 based on the Pip-Boy that's seen in the trailer. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. We know we're going to find out much more about this at E3, but we're excited to see what the future of Fallout holds. Hopefully though, we haven't seen the last of spin-offs. Like, I would actually like to see a new kind of New Vegas type game made in the future. Maybe not necessarily by Obsidian if they're not working on that. Obviously they've just finished Pillars of Eternity 2 and they've been working on the South Park games as well. But I'd like to see, you know, a return of that, just an original kind of side game, you know, like something that's not quite not a numbered installment, but something that kind of experiments a bit more, because New Vegas really did experiment with the Fallout franchise in some interesting ways, and it's not always the most popular of games, but I loved it. I really did. And you know, I liked what Obsidian tried to do with Fallout New Vegas. It was a bit glitchy, it was a bit buggy, but I imagine, you know, anything that we'd see now would be come out in a lot better shape, shall we say. But yeah, that's Fallout 76, and it will have a massive part of Bethesda's, or B3 as it's affectionately known, conference. Now, something else that's basically not been confirmed, but has all but been confirmed, is something to do with Prey. Now, there's been teasers on social media for the last 2 months from the official Twitter account. There was one image that showed a woman holding a calendar with the B3 date having a big red cross through it. And the rumour is that we're getting a new DLC, not a sequel. And this DLC is likely to be set on the moon. Why do we say that? Well, for a number of reasons, but perhaps the most recent one really gives it away. There were some new achievements added to Prey, which were leaked recently, that point to an REM song, The Man on the Moon. Now, it could be a sequel, but the fact that achievements were added to the base Prey game suggests it's not. The original game does actually point to the Pythias facility, which could be where the DLC is going to be based. Yeah, it's apparently going to be set on the moon. So that's something that we're certain to learn a lot more about at E3. Prey is going to the moon. It's getting some DLC 1 year after launch, which is fantastic, and we were promised some Prey DLC previously as well, so it's not a huge surprise, but it's something that we would like to see, and it's nice to see a game continue to be supported, because it did get a bit of an unfair critical reception. I'm a big fan of Prey, and I'm looking forward to going back into that world again to seeing the game. Quake Champions also has a place at the B3 showcase. It basically, for those who don't know, it's an early access launch of a reimagined and re-seen Quake. It had a bit of a shaky start, and it's still not really on the best terms with its community, but Bethesda have confirmed that a new gore system is going to be talked about very soon, which is basically dismemberment, which adds body parts that can be shot off a la Gibbs. So you're going to hear a lot more about the gore system and the dismemberment system with the body parts at B3. Another interesting development was the Elder Scrolls Legend, the card game, actually changed development teams very recently, so we're expecting to hear some new details on the game. We're imagining there's going to be some big changes in store for the Elder Scrolls Legends, and maybe it's something that could come to Switch, maybe it's something that they're going to expand to other consoles as well. We're expecting to hear a lot more about the Elder Scrolls Legends, because it's clear with the shift in development team that Bethesda are not quite ready to give up the ghost yet on their Hearthstone spin-off. And speaking about the Elder Scrolls Online Somerset just launched on all formats now. It's available on the consoles as well, so we're probably going to get a peek at the future of Tesso as well, now that Somerset is out in the wild after that reveal event. Probably some new details on the latest content updates coming to the game rather than a full-blown expansion, because that's just released, so we're expected to hear a bit more about Tesso as well. And of course, Wolfenstein 2 will be releasing on Switch this month as well, so perhaps we'll get a big Game of the Year edition announcement, or maybe even some new DLC, because the DLC did kind of go down the wrong way with a lot of people. It wasn't quite met with the anticipation that perhaps Bethesda would have hoped, so maybe we'll see something else as well that's less kind of cartoon cartoony spin-off and a bit more focused towards the story of Blazkowicz. Now let's get to the speculation. Now, Starfield seems to be speculated about at every Bethesda conference since basically the beginning of time. It is tipped to be Bethesda's next big open world RPG following Fallout 4. We don't really know much about it other than it's expected to be a starfaring adventure, so you're probably going to be in a spaceship and touring around, moving between planets, which sounds really, really cool and could be amazing. It's been heavily rumored for a long time. We may get some new details on it at B3. We don't know. But at the moment, Bethesda doesn't have a clear open world RPG game in the works that we know of after Fallout 4. A lot of the stuff is just kind of like shooters, or it's been card games, or it's been massive multiplayer online games. So would you some kind of announcement about a big open world RPG that Bethesda is known for? And as we've kind of figured out that Fallout 76 isn't going to be that, I would expect maybe something on Starfield or the Elder Scrolls 6, which is also being rumored. And there's big talk that it's been revealed. I mean, you think about it, it's been a very long time since Skyrim now. I don't think there are many more platforms that Skyrim could get onto. There probably is. I can't think. Actually, no, it hasn't gone to mobile just yet, but give it time. Nor is it on the Game Boy Advance or the Dreamcast yet. You get the drift. It's been a while since Skyrim. Skyrim has gone to VR. It's been on Switch recently. You know, they had a special edition. I think it's about time Bethesda stop releasing Skyrim and probably start thinking about what comes next. Skyrim was a fantastic game. A lot of people are very eager to see what's next. We could get to see the first look at the Elder Scrolls 6, and that would be pretty cool because it's been alternating with Fallout for a little while now. Obviously, Fallout 4 was the last major game. The Elder Scrolls 6 would make a lot of sense. I wouldn't expect it this year, don't get me wrong. It's probably going to be a 2019, maybe even 2020 game, but that could get announced as well. So it's certainly at the moment looking like it's going to be between Starfield and the Elder Scrolls 6. Starfield we know very little about other than it's basically a prototype name at this point. And Elder Scrolls 6 is something that I'm sure Bethesda will be looking at a lot because Skyrim has made them a bit of cash. So, you know, they're probably thinking, yeah, you know what, maybe we'll do that. Another big rumor, and quite possibly is very true based on some of the leaks we've seen, is Fallout 3 Anniversary Edition. Now, it's the 10-year anniversary of Fallout 3. It's a fantastic game. I loved it. It almost made me split it with my girlfriend. She was very patient when I was playing it. I played it extensively. And there's a rumor that there's going to be a remaster appearing on all formats in a format similar to Skyrim Special Edition. Makes a lot of sense. Gives a good opportunity to bring a classic game onto Switch to continue Bethesda's continued support of Switch, which has been very admirable and is great to see. And it's something that I think a lot of people would like to re-experience again in 4K, and they've remastered textures and, you know, seeing a classic game. I mean, a lot of people didn't really like Fallout 4 very much. They love Fallout 3, so it gives them another chance to replay a great game. That would probably release this year if it is coming out, if it is actually real. It would just be great to have Fallout 3 on Switch. I'm not gonna lie, being able to play that in it would just be amazing. So don't be too surprised if that shows up. And the other big rumor, of course, is Doom 2. It's been a couple of years now since Doom came out. Doom was received very, very, very well, and many are hoping that we'll get some news on Doom 2. I wouldn't be entirely surprised. I mean, it's clearly going to be a big money maker for Bethesda in the long term. It's obviously released on all formats now. They brought it to Switch, so it's probably time to start thinking about a Doom 2. Even though we've already technically had that, but we won't go there. Yeah, and it would be nice to see it. I really enjoyed Doom myself. It's a fun game, and it just works, and it works really well for them. So expect possibly some news about Doom 2. Other kind of rumors floating around is something new from Dishonored. I wouldn't bet on it unless it's a big DLC. We had Death of the Outsider last year. We won't get Dishonored 3 just yet. That will probably come at a later point, but I wouldn't expect anything from that this year. And Wolfenstein 3, again, I wouldn't expect it because Wolfenstein 2 just came out last year. So you might see something from both of those in 2019, maybe even 2020, but I wouldn't hold your breath too much. Maybe, as I said, the Wolfenstein 2, you might get some DLC or a Game of the Year edition, but nah, I think it's a bit too soon for both of those to really be doing anything much for Bethesda. And I suppose, I say that, but then there was obviously the big announcement of Fallout Shelter a couple of years ago, which then stealth dropped on the App Store. So who's to say that we won't see some stuff for that appearing as well. And I think as well, we need to talk a bit about Bethesda's support of Switch, because Bethesda have been very big supporters of Switch. We've obviously mentioned in this that we're probably going to see a Fallout 3 version on Switch. I wouldn't be surprised if the Elder Scrolls Legend made an appearance, because that would be really cool, because it doesn't seem at the moment that Blizzard are bringing Hearthstone, so that's a big opportunity for Bethesda to own that space, at least for now. And I reckon we might see Fallout Shelter pop out on Switch too. I think that would be a perfect game to bring on Switch. It might even appear during the E3 conference. That'd be a nice, quite a cool coincidence as well. A couple of years later, it stealth drops again during E3, but this time on Switch. And maybe some other games in a similar sort of vein. I mean, Fallout Shelter has been a great success of Bethesda, and it would be nice to see their mobile division work on perhaps something in the Elder Scrolls. Oh, I suppose we had Elder Scrolls Legend, but perhaps something on maybe Dishonored or maybe Wolfenstein in that kind of vein, and releasing a mobile game. We don't know. It'd be fun to see. But yeah, we're expecting some fun things from the Bethesda's E3 conference. They've got a lot to show we know about, and there's a lot of surprises still to keep for us as well. So not too long to wait for that one. So let us know what your E3 predictions are for Bethesda in the comment section below. We'd love to hear them. Let me know what you think about these videos, if you've been enjoying them. If you've not, again, we love all your feedback, and we'll see you for the next one, which just so happens to be Square Enix, their first press conference since 2015. So it should be a big one. See you